I refused to babysit my stepsister's kids. My dad threatened to cut me off, leading to uncovered family secrets and strained ties. Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm 28 years old. I've been dealing with some serious family drama recently. My parents divorced when I was 10, and I don't think I'll ever forget how ugly the whole thing was. I stayed with my dad after the divorce, and it was just the two of us for many years. We were close, or at least I thought we were. I assumed that being father and daughter, we shared everything. But as I got older, I realized that my dad had kept a lot of things from me, things I should have known as his daughter. When I was 18, my dad introduced me to Linda, who was 50 at the time. They had been dating for a while, without telling me. I was hurt. I didn't even know about her. But I tried to be supportive. A few months later, they got married, and Linda moved in with her daughter, Emma, who is 25. This was a huge adjustment for me. I had been the only child for my entire life, and now I suddenly had a stepsister who I didn't know very well. Emma and I were different. She was outgoing, bubbly, and loved to be around people, whereas I was more reserved and liked my space. We tried to get along, but we never really clicked. At 18, I left for college, and that was a relief. I was finally free of my dad's new family, at least physically. I stayed focused on my studies, made new friends, and enjoyed being independent. After graduation, I found a job in the same city and decided to stay. I saw my dad and Linda occasionally on holidays, but I wasn't particularly close to them. Emma and I barely communicated, except for birthday texts and the occasional family dinner when I happened to be in town. Fast forward a few years, and things took a turn I wasn't expecting. Emma and her husband, Jake, moved to my city. Jake had taken a new job at a tech startup, and they were relocating here with their two kids, Liam, who is 4, and Ava, who is 2. Emma was a stay-at-home mom, and she didn't seem to have any plans for work. When they first moved, my dad called me, asking me to help them settle in. I wasn't thrilled about it, but I agreed. I showed them around the city, helped them find a neighborhood, and even helped with some of the move. I thought that would be the end of it. But I was wrong. A week after they moved in, Emma started showing up at my apartment in the evenings with the kids. She'd ask me to watch them for an hour or two while she ran errands. At first, I agreed. I wanted to be nice, and I thought it was just a one-time thing. But it quickly turned into a daily occurrence. I work from home as a graphic designer, so I usually finish work by the time she arrives. But I value my evenings as my own time. I like to relax, catch up with friends, or work on personal projects. Having kids around was draining, especially since I'm not good with them. I don't know how to keep kids entertained, and their energy always made me feel nervous and overwhelmed. I reminded Emma several times that she needed to hire a babysitter, but she always had an excuse. "It's just for today," she'd say. I'm still getting used to the city. I started to feel like she was taking advantage of me. Then, one Friday, I had plans with my friends. We were celebrating my best friend's promotion, and I had been looking forward to it all week. I told Emma in the morning that I wouldn't be available that evening. She said she understood. But at 6 p.m., just as I was about to leave, Emma showed up at my door with Liam and Ava. Before I could even protest, she handed me the kids and drove away. I called her right away, but she didn't answer. I called Jake too, but he didn't pick up either. I had to cancel my plans and stay home with the kids. I was furious. This was the first time Emma had completely ignored my refusal to babysit, and I was trapped with her kids until 9 p.m. When Emma finally picked up the kids, I confronted her. She brushed it off, claiming it wasn't a big deal and that she had an emergency. When I pressed her for details, she became evasive and vague. I told her this couldn't happen again. She needed to hire a proper babysitter. That's when Emma snapped. She called me selfish and said families are supposed to help each other out. That's when I lost it. I told her we weren't family. Just because our parents got married didn't mean we had to be close. I reminded her that we hadn't spoken in years before she moved here, and now she expected me to babysit her kids like we were best friends. I told her I was done babysitting and that she shouldn't bring her kids over unless I invited her. Emma left in tears. I felt guilty, but at the same time, I was relieved that I had finally set a clear boundary. The next day, my dad called me. He was angry. He told me that Emma had contacted him, crying and accusing me of being mean to her and the kids. He said I needed to apologize and start babysitting again. I tried to explain my side of the situation. I told him that Emma had been taking advantage of me, constantly ruining my plans, and never respecting my time or boundaries. But my dad wasn't listening. He told me I should be more understanding and that I was being selfish. Then he said something that really hurt. He told me that Emma and Linda were now my family, and I needed to accept that. He even hinted that I still had a grudge against him for marrying Linda. I was shocked. I told him that they were his family, not mine, and that I was an adult capable of making my own decisions. I didn't need to apologize. I didn't want to be Emma's babysitter anymore. That's when the argument escalated. My dad threatened to cut me off if I didn't apologize. I was hurt, angry, and blindsided. I told him I was financially independent and didn't need his money. If he wanted to cut me off over this, then maybe we weren't as close as I thought. He ended the conversation by hanging up on me. After that, things only got worse. Since then, Linda and other family members have been messaging me, accusing me of being unfair. They say I should be more empathetic toward Emma, who's a young mother in a new city. Some of my aunts have even called me, saying I was tearing the family apart. Emma hasn't contacted me directly, but she's been posting passive-aggressive messages on social media, talking about how families should always be there for one another. It felt like she was trying to publicly guilt-trip me. I couldn't take it anymore. Was I wrong for refusing to babysit? Was I really being selfish? I don't think it's fair for Emma to expect me to be her free babysitter whenever she feels like it. But at the same time, I feel guilty. Maybe I should have been more patient with her. Maybe I should have tried harder to connect with her over the years. But another part of me feels like I'm not being respected and I'm just being used. I keep thinking about the kids, Liam and Ava. They're innocent in all of this. I don't want them to feel rejected or unwanted, but I also don't want to be forced into a role that I'm not comfortable with. It's been almost 2 weeks since that call with my dad, and things have only gotten worse. My father has stopped communicating with me entirely, and Emma continues to post passive-aggressive things on social media. I've been trying to keep myself busy with work, exercising more, and picking up new hobbies. But something unexpected happened last week. I overheard Jake at a coffee shop, and he was with another woman. At first, I thought it was just a work colleague, but then I realized that it was something more. They were holding hands and speaking quietly. It looked like he was having an affair. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront him? Should I tell Emma? But the next day, Emma called me. She was in tears, and she wanted to come over. She admitted that she had lied about running errands and had left the kids with me so she could go to therapy. Emma had been struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety since Ava was born. She hadn't told anyone because she was embarrassed and didn't want to be judged. I was shocked. I felt both sympathy and frustration. On one hand, I understood that she had been going through a tough time, but on the other hand, I was angry that she had deceived me and taken advantage of me. We spent hours talking, and Emma apologized for her behavior. She said she would look into getting proper help for herself and the kids, and she promised not to ask me to babysit anymore. We've come to a tentative understanding, but the wounds are still there. It will take time to rebuild our relationship. My dad, on the other hand, still hasn't contacted me. It's been a hard few weeks, but I'm learning to set boundaries and stand firm in my decisions. I still don't know if my dad will ever truly understand, but for now, I'm focusing on myself. My own happiness and peace matter more than trying to please everyone else.